structure your year according to your tapering, according to the races that you want to do, according to the recovery that you need. And I think it's important to realize that, you know, as endurance athletes, we want every single race to be an A race. Every race is important. We want to do our best in every single race. And that's just not realistic, because, you know, we're going to try and get a balance of training where we want to push ourselves, where we want to get to the next level, and you want a level of consistency, and you want a sense of build. You want to be able to build on that foundation week on week, month on month. And what happens is, if you race too often, you disrupt that process. And although the racing is a good stress, it's a good training stress, you do it too often, and what happens is you're always recovering and tapering. You're always recovering and tapering, and the consistency and the training volume gets left behind. And you see that your ultimate performance is not at the level that you want it. But again, going back to the periodization, you know, which training are you going to do at which period of the year? And just like we spoke about powerlifters, it takes a long time to get that strength, it takes a long time to lose the strength, it takes a long time to recover, it takes a long time to taper. The traditional way of periodizing your training is adding in the quality, adding in the power, adding in the quality just before the race, which is a very big mistake, I think, because once you've already built your volume up so high, to then add something that is so exponentially more stressful than what you're used to puts a huge amount of risk. And so the safer way to train, and the more effective way to train actually, is to flip it around, to start the training with a low volume, high intensity. It doesn't necessarily have to be high heart rate, but in terms of muscle contractility, you need to be pushing the muscle hard in the beginning, because it takes a lot out of your body. You can't add that in at the end when you are building your endurance. You've got to be sort of tapering down, closing down on the amounts of quality and power that you are doing at that point, because you want to open up the body's ability to adapt to the endurance training at that point. So the taper, the triangle should be inversely. You know, you should start with a lot of intensity, a lot of power, a lot of gym work, a lot of strength, and then as you get into the season, you should taper that off towards the race. Whereas your endurance, you should do it the other way around. You should taper it the other way. You should build your endurance towards that end, because that way, as soon as you start your taper, you basically have the highest volume of training that you're doing from an endurance point of view. And as I said earlier, we lose a lot of endurance quickly, and so you want to leave that to the end. You don't want to be tapering for too long, because you lose that aerobic base quite quickly. The body adapts. So if you stop training, the body adapts to that. And we know that the strength and the endurance work opposite. So we've got to structure that in the training. And then of course, if you look at how MPG does it, you can look you can go through the system and go through the levels and basically work your way up to the race phase where you're doing race specific training. But the whole system is structured so that you're starting off with your strength training, and then you go into the speed phase, and then your speed endurance phase, and you build it up like that until you basically got all the layers that you want in your cake. And I think the problem is that most people, they build their endurance primarily for many months without putting any of the other layers of the cake in place, and then right at the end they want to do the intensity, the speed work, all those things, and it's just too much. You can't add that really high intensity work to the endurance training. It's just not effective, because firstly you need to be fresh to get anything out of those sessions, and secondly you need to have the recovery, and if you're doing a lot of strength training and a lot of endurance training at the same time, you don't get either of those. So you don't get the intensity that you want in the actual strength work that you're doing, or the speed work that you're doing, and you don't actually recover properly, and it basically puts you in a hole just before your race. So just to summarize how we should be doing it: inverse tapering, start off with a lot of strength work, and then bring that down slowly as the season goes by, And the opposite with the endurance, you build up the volume of your endurance training. And if you just follow the phases on MPG as it comes, with each training block, it's very easy to see which phase you need to be doing at the right time.